Shri Vaishnavamscha Sagrata.
Dikshit, when the prayer is on, you cannot fool around, please. When he's saying the prayer, why are you muting it?
1 minute.
Mataji, we cannot hear anything, Mataji.
They are not saying. They have muted.
Yes, Mataji. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurlimitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Vishakam
Hey Krishna,
Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghudana Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Kancha Kalpatarubhyacha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Lord Pranam, when you are saying the prayer, be serious. Don't play. You should be serious with. You should understand that you are talking to God when you are saying the prayers. It is in no way different. It is talking to God only. Okay. So we have completed how many chapters? 4 chapters.
4 chapters.
Okay. So now we shall just briefly revise the 4 chapters and then go to the 5th chapter today. First chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, or observing the armies. Where both the armies are in the war field. When everybody is ready to fight, they have, in brief, the war field was explained and the mentalities of all the people there was briefly explained. Then actually Arjuna will be under the impression that he is doing the war to get back the kingdom and to answer the insults they have paid. But Krishna wants the Mahabharata Yuddham, what to happen for a different reason. For the actual reason, what he is intending to hold the Mahabharata Yuddham, he wanted Arjuna to know and even all of us to know what is right, what is wrong. That is the reason. Even though Arjuna is a very ferocious man, fearless man, he gets his heart becomes weak, and then he gets what we call as Hridaya Daurbalyam, and Arjuna becomes fearful, and he asks Krishna to take the chariot into the war field, and intelligently Arjuna puts it in front of Drona and Bhishma, and Arjuna becomes very fearful, and he withdraws from the war, saying, giving 5 reasons for not fighting. This is where chapter 1 ends. Then chapter 2, Arjuna then, after telling all the 5 and one more reason in chapter 2, 6 reasons, he surrenders to Krishna with the sloka Karpanya dosha Bhakta Swabhava, saying that I am totally confused. I do not know what to do. So you, even though you are my friend, I accept you as a guru. And then please guide me what to do. Normally, but even though here Arjuna is telling Krishna that you are my guru, you tell me, we always have this mentality. When we are confused, lightly, and when we want to do something which the other man does not like us to do, normally what we do is we put the ball in their court and tell me, no, this is my problem. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. This is how normally we tell, hoping that the answer what we want will come from the other end, and then we can always justify ourselves, saying, you also wanted me to do that. So because Arjuna thought Krishna would give such a kind of an answer, and then he has surrendered to Krishna, saying that you are my guru, please tell me what to do. And then when after Arjuna has surrendered, Krishna started telling Bhagavad Gita. So that is, Krishna starts telling Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2. The total gist of Bhagavad Gita is already given in chapter 2. If we understand chapter 2, that means we have understood Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is called as Sankhya Yoga, which is nothing but analytical study, the science of soul. Here itself, Krishna tells very clearly that we are not the body, we are the soul. And then he gives various qualities of the soul. And he tells that you cannot be killed, nor you can kill anybody, and that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. And he tells the main point that we have all the qualities of Krishna, but in a very minute way. And like the qualities, the same qualities, Krishna, the qualities are same, but the quantity is huge difference. Like the Krishna has each quality in the size of an ocean, and we have it in the size of a drop in the ocean. So here itself we should understand that he is the soul and we are the soul. We are the soul and he is the super soul. And also we should understand that we have all come from him. He is the originator, and that we should surrender to him, and then we should serve him. This is where the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, ends. And then the third chapter. Here again, Arjuna, in spite of Krishna telling all that, Arjuna asks one more question. He says, if we are the souls and not the body, can we, so why should I do all this? We are the souls, nothing to do all these material things. Then why all this? I can as well leave everything and then sit idle. So again, Krishna, that is where Krishna introduces Karma Yoga. Initially, Krishna tells us that karma means duty, doing, work is karma. So our duty is to do, because soul is very active. So we cannot sit idle. It is impossible for a living being to sit idle. We have to do something, good or bad, lazy out. If we don't do anything also, at least we have to do breathing, eating, and at least those things we have to do. So when we are compelled to do something, we better do something meaningful and correct. Then the second point, first he says karma is duty. Then he says we should do our karma as per our varna. So every individual has a varna, but that varna is not by birth, but it is by our quality. And then Krishna says, do it as a responsibility to the society, because you are born in this society. You have some responsibilities to your parents, to your society, to your children, and to everybody around us. To the not only this, to the super soul and to the devatas who has given you all these facilities. That rain is coming, wind is coming, fire is coming, without which we cannot do anything. So this is what is talked in 3rd, 4th, and 5th chapter. He talks the same thing. Then he talks about Sakama Karma and Nishkama Karma. And he concludes the chapter saying that do it as a duty, not as a duty or as a responsibility, but do it as a, not your duty, but do it as a duty to the God. Because we are all in this world, we have to do karma. So if we understand these chapters carefully, we will know that what we have to do something, so we will do it in the right way. So, and also he extends saying that every human will have some desires. It is basic thing. The having will, that means having ego is not wrong, or feeling that it is me, that will is not wrong. That free will is there, that is given by Krishna. So we will have, but where are we using the free will is what is important, what we should understand. So we should have desires towards the, not on this material desires. Having desires on the material enjoyment is nothing but lust. And whereas spiritual desires is what we should have. Karma is doing our activities. So we are all karmis because we are meant to do activities. Right? Karma is doing prescribed duties. That is also called as Vidyut Karma. And then he talks about the karma yoga. We all know what is yoga. Yoga is nothing but connection. So the yuj means connection. Yoga means connection with the God. So we should connect ourselves with God with our action. So here he talks about sakama karma yoga, connecting with Krishna for fulfilling our desires. So many people, most of us do that. We always go to God. We go to temple. Why do we go? In bluntly, if it has to be said, we go to temple to beg. There is, if you want to put it more bluntly, beggars sit outside and say, beg. We go inside and beg, saying Krishna, God, whichever temple we go, we say, please give me this, please give me that, please give me that. No, that is not what we are supposed to do. We should go to temple to thank God for whatever He has already given us. Because everything we are enjoying is a mercy of God. There is no need for Him to give, but still He is giving. So we should go to temple as a for Thanksgiving. It should be a Thanksgiving. And also nowadays temples have become like this, but previously temples were like universities. Like always some preaching was going on. All the time the temple is open, there is a preaching going on there. So normally we have this in our culture, in our elders say, when we go to temple, we should not immediately come back. We should just sit there for some time and come. So what we do, we just sit there for a minute and eat prasadam and come. No, what they mean by saying sit there for some time is, when we sit there, what will happen? When the preachings are going on, we hear the preachings and we get connected. We understand what is right, what is wrong. So that is the reason why we are asked to sit in the temple. And later he talks about the cycle of sacrifice. So, and also then he concludes third chapter saying that beware of lust. Beware of lust. That means you differentiate between lust and desire. So that is where he concludes chapter 3. And then chapter 4, we discussed about lust. That lust is the root cause of all the problems. Here Krishna tells us that transcendental knowledge is the only way we can get away from lust, because we think what we are thinking is correct, but desiring all this is correct. What is wrong? I am earning, I am spending, and I am spending with my money only, and I am enjoying. What is wrong in it is what the doubt we get. But only when we get the real transcendental knowledge, we will understand the difference between a lust and desire. So Krishna also described how he has given the great knowledge to the rishis, and that is that the great kings of those days in a parampara. And then he explains various things in this chapter also about karma only he explains. And here at the end he emphasizes on the reaction of free work, how free when we do work, what is the result of doing with desire and with detachment. That will keep us from accumulation of, that means if you do it with attachment, it keeps us accumulating our karma. If you do it with detachment, there won't be any accumulation of karma. So Krishna also says there in the end of 4th chapter, he says, do it as in the spirit of sannyasam. Normally, what we think is sannyasi means a person who doesn't do anything. But we all should mentally become sannyasis. That means mentally we should not have desires, but we should physically be very active and do the right thing. And again, when Krishna says do it in the spirit of sannyasi, again Arjuna takes it in the same way, saying that understand it, sannyasi means he says it is giving up of work. That is, maintain a spirit of detachment of work. But what Krishna means is do it at the detachment of work. This is where the 4th chapter ends. So we shall go to 5th chapter now. Yeah, we have already, so this is the 5th chapter, which says, which is Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So as we have talked till now, we have to be in action only, always in action, and that action must be in Krishna consciousness. So we have already 4th chapter, I have already discussed, I have already briefed just now, and this is the 5th chapter, action in Krishna consciousness. Here this is also divided into 6 parts. The 1 to 6 is Nishkama Karma Yoga, easier than renunciation. 7 to 8 is how to perform Nishkama Karma Yoga. Today we shall discuss these 12 slokas. So the other ones, the 13 to 16 is platform of knowledge, knowing the 3 doers. What are the 3 doers? What are the 3 doers? That is the 3, what do you call this? Sattva, Rajo and Tamo gunas. So liberation by focusing on the spirit soul. So the only way to liberation, here if you see in Bhagavad Gita, the same point is told in 100 different ways. Because when we keep hearing, we think, okay, this is already told, do karma in a detached way, do karma in a detached way. That's all will be discussed in the these chapters. But it is told so many times. Why is it told so many times? Because when it is told so many times, what happens is it just goes into the body, into our mind, and it sinks within us, and then at least there will be little change in us. Okay, then 27 to 28, the 2 slokas is liberation through Ashtanga Yoga, and 29 is peace on the platform of liberation. This is a small chapter, just 29. So we can finish it in 2 sections, 2 weeks. Okay, now sloka 1. Yeah, who will read? Yeah, Rohan. Please don't fight, only one of you read, and then the second one can read either the meaning or the sloka.
Then Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Arjuna Huvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam cha Samsasi Yakcharye Yatayorekam Tanme Brushi Sunishitam. Translation. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommended work with devotion. Now with your kindly tell me definitely which of the 2 is more beneficial." Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work." So first, what did Krishna? This is what we have been discussed till now, and then again you are recommending to work with devotion. On one hand you are saying leave the work, and on the other hand you are asking me to do the work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the 2 is more beneficial? See here, what in this sloka, what we should understand? What we should understand is The way Arjuna is questioning, or I should not say questioning, asking his guru. He doesn't say, what is this, Krishna? What are you talking rubbish? On one hand, you are telling me renounce work. On the other hand, you are telling me recommend work with devotion. The same thing, why are you telling in two ways? What is this? He's not asking like that. Even though he is a friend and a cousin, he is asking because he is a guru. He has accepted him as a guru. He has asked him, how will I understand? Will you kindly tell me? This is the way, whenever we ask somebody, this is the tone we have to maintain. Even though Arjuna is a great personality by himself, and also he is very close to Krishna. Even then, he asks in such a in an obedient way. He asks which is the best in both the things. Yeah, Siri, you can read.
श्री भगवानुवाच संन्यासः कर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयसकरावुभौ तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते. Translation. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation, but of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work.
So he very clearly again Krishna is telling the personality of Godhead replied, the supreme personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. He says the renunciation of work, that means not doing work, and work in devotion are good for liberation. Not doing work means it's not sitting idle, not doing for yourself, but without any expectations. Both, but out of the two work, working in devotion service is better than renunciation of the work. So here he is telling very clearly from the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells only one thing, says that you have to do work in devotional, with devotional mind. That's all he keeps telling. The same thing he tells in a different way. So here Krishna tells that performing fruitive activities is bad. That means doing something for material desires is bad, but performing duties is good with detachments. That means, see here, this is a very common thing, very important thing what we have to understand. Why do we get angry? Why do we get disappointments? Why do our depressions come? If you just analyze things, why are so many suicides happening? Why are so many people running away from the houses? And all the material, all the wrong things, why are they happening? Because they have some desires. And those desires are not getting, material desires they are having. And those material desires are not getting fulfilled. So, because we have material desires and they are not getting fulfilled, immediately what happens? Disappointment comes. And when disappointment comes, what happens? We get angry. Why? This anger comes because of helplessness. We want it, we are not getting it. So we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to get it, or we have no capacity to get it. Then what happens is we get angry. And in the angry, many times we have discussed, we lose our mental control and mental balance. And we don't know what we are doing. So we do wrong things. So not having material desires and doing it for the sake of doing it is the best thing to do. Because when the desires increase, they are, as we discussed many times, the desires are endless. Anything we do, we think, okay, if I get this, this is enough. This is the end of it. And then afterwards, what happens? No, if I get that also, it will be nice. So in my childhood, we had these books called Chandamama Kadalu. They're beautiful, and those days we thought they are only stories. But only now I am realizing that they are all very meaningful stories. There is a story there, I think very famous story. One lady, she's a single lady, widow. She has only one son, and the son, she takes care of the son very well. And after going, she gets the son married. And once the marriage is over, the son becomes very selfish. And then he goes and tells his mother, because of his wife's influence, he tells, Amma, you have, in your life, you have finished your responsibilities. What is that you want to stay here and do? Why, this is enough. So your responsibility is over. Now I think you can die now. So the mother is a very intelligent lady. If she says, why you are asking me to die? Why should I die? It's a fight. She says, okay, Nana, you are very nice. You are telling me very correctly. I'll definitely die, no doubt. But now that I got you married, I just want to see your son. Oh, then that fellow becomes very happy. Oh, just having a son, okay. For a few years, she thinks. Then the son is born. Then he says, Amma, I think now you can die. She says, what is the use of having a baby? I must see the baby in action. When the baby coming up, growing, so the baby starts growing a little bit. And then again the son asks, he said, okay, the baby is already little grown up. Very soon you are going to get him married. Let me see the marriage and then I'll go. Then after some time, the grandson gets married. Then the son comes, Amma, why don't you go now? She says, okay, now even your responsibilities are over. Let both of us go. So that way, here, these desires are, here, this is not the right story for it. This way, what happens is, this is a story where she has very intelligently enlightened her son that that what he is doing is wrong. But that way, in material desires also, what we have is, normally we think, okay, if once this is done, that's enough. Like, we are there, our children are grown up and they are on their own. Now we should finally decide this is end. Let them take care of their family. They have to take care of themselves. We should not bother. That is their life. That is where we should cut ourselves. Not think about, okay, what about, are they doing well? Are they studying well? Are their children studying well? That kind of an attitude. That similarly, you people also should know where to stop. Buying clothes, you should know where to stop. And various other things, desires, asking your parents, you know where to stop. You should know where to stop. You should ask, you should have, and you should know where to stop. So that these material fruitive results, it is impossible to stop them, because that is what is the power of Maya. So they were, and so then we get entangled with them. So the moment we understand that we are not the body, we are not the body, this realization will come. So, but saying that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul, I will not do any activities is also not correct. So one should understand that. So we know that we are the super soul. So what? No, we are the soul. So what we should do is that we are connected to super soul. Our duty as a soul is to make Krishna happy. So it is like a vehicle. This we should understand that we are super soul. Sorry, we are soul, and our work is to get connected with the super soul. And we are given this material body to do something which will connect us to the super soul. So in other way, if you have to understand, if you suppose the soul, we can compare it with a driver, and the material body, what we got is a car. So just because the driver can drive the car, he cannot use the car the way he wants, the way he likes. He cannot take the car the way he wants. He can take it only where his owner wants him to take. Only then the owner will be happy. Otherwise, what will happen? He will lose the job. So that way, a driver's responsibility is to make the owner happy. Similarly, here we are the soul, and this vehicle is a carrier for us. And so using this material body, we have to make Lord Krishna happy. We have to use this body to make him happy. Any material item can be used for material enjoyment or divine utility. So like anything is there. We can either use it for our material happiness or for making Krishna happy. Suppose there is a good flower. The flower, we can immediately take it, put it in your head and sleep. By tomorrow morning, it will get spoiled. Or if we just smell it and then keep it on the table. Or we can take it and put it in front of Krishna, offer it to Krishna for some time and then smell it. The difference is the first one is for material benefit. The second one is we get the divine fragrance of Krishna after offering to Krishna. That way, anything, if you just sit and analyze properly, any material item can be used for the enjoyment of Krishna. Okay, next sloka. Yeah, Siri. Siri, will you read?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Jneyasa nitya sannyasi yona dvesti na kankshati nirdvandho hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Translation. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna.
So here Krishna is telling, addressing Arjuna as, oh mighty armed Arjuna, one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. That means, why is this entanglement? Because whatever we are doing, we want the results to be in our favor. That's all we want. And when the results don't come in our favor, what will we do? We get angry, or we become emotional, or we get depressed. Instead of that, if you do our activities properly and don't get attached to the desires, then there is no problem at all. Such a person free from dualities, that means free from good or bad, will easily overcome. That means the result, duality here is, the result is in our favor or against us. That way, if he is free from the result, easily overcomes material bondage. So there is no bondage for him. And is completely liberated. So because he is leaving everything, no attachments, no emotions, no. Why will we get angry on others? Why are we developing enemies? Why is this ego system coming in us? The main reason, as we all know, what is spoiling our mind is the ego. Where does this ego, false ego? The right ego is that Krishna is the supreme personality and we are all servants of Krishna and we have to serve him, is the right ego. The false ego is we, I, thinking that I is what is the false ego. So if you overcome this false ego, the moment we think I, everything, we want everything to happen for us. That is where the false ego comes and the material bondage happens. The emotions come, the attachments come, the enemies come, the jealousies come, everything comes from there only. So karma yogi is always a sannyasi because mentally he is not attached with anything. The spirit explained here is no reaction to the results. We are not getting attached to any result. Giving up results is a good as giving up work. So that is, whatever may be the result, is like giving up the work. Prabhupada says, nothing here, the knowledge, what is important is here. Nothing here belongs to us. Where is the cushion of renunciation? We are always talking about renunciation. We have to relieve, we have to live. See, what is that we can renounce? If we have something, we have to renounce. So what Prabhupada says is that nothing here is ours. In this material body, nothing is ours. So when nothing is ours, where is the question of giving it? Suppose I tell, okay, today all of you have done very well in the class. I will write Taj Mahal for you. What will you do? You will laugh at me. Or if I say that I'll write the high-tech city building for you, you will only laugh at me because that is not mine. How can I write it to you? Similarly, nothing here in this world is ours. We should be very, very clear on this. Yeah, this. Vishnupriya, are you there? Vishnupriya, what happened to this?
Mataji, can I, Mataji?
Wait. Why all this now? Krishna Priya and Vishnu Priya, are you there?
Then left Mataji.
Okay, Sri Sagana. Okay, right. Okay, read.
Can I read Mataji?
Yeah, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 5.4. Sankhya Yoga Pratagbalaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekam Apya Astitaha Ekam Apya Astitaha
Ekam apyastitaha.
Ekam Apya Astitaha Samyaga
Gubayo.
Ubhayorvidante Phalam. Translation. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytic study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from analytical study of material world, Sankhya yoga. That means we have to be clear that Sankhya yoga is what we have studied in chapter 2 is nothing but the Jnana yoga. In Sankhya yoga, what did we study about the basically we have studied that we are the soul and the material body, the Panchendriyas, the Jnanendriyas, all those things we have studied there. So here that is the knowledge, that is the karma yoga. So those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieve the results of both. So a learned man knows that if that any path he takes, one of these two paths will get the results of both. So Sankhya Yoga is nothing but Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is engaged in Karma Yoga means we have to do our duties. What duties we have to do? We have to do our prescribed duties. Learned people say that both are same. In chapter 2, chapter 6, Krishna says Karma Yoga is best. He emphasizes that all should perform Karma Yoga only because Krishna has been telling from the beginning that we have to do our duty. Karma, activity. That means karma means there is various meanings have been given by Krishna. First he said activity. Then he talked about fruitive activities. Then he talked about reaction to activities, the whole system of action and reaction. That means every action, whatever we have, will have a reaction. So Krishna was talking about the action and the reaction. That is, and finally he talks about the prescribed duties. Karma yoga means yoga is nothing but linking with Supreme. Karma yoga is linking with the Supreme prescribed duties. So we have to link up with Krishna with the prescribed duties. To say specifically, we have to do Nishkama Karma Yoga. Result of Nishkama Karma Yoga is Jnana Yoga. Slowly, this is step by step increase. So Jnana Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. So both are same. Sankhya Yoga means analysis, analytical knowledge of material and spirit. So one understand that he is soul and no need to prescribe. So we have to understand that we are the soul and we have to do our prescribed duties. But actually, because we are the soul, if you really have that 100% knowledge, we need not do any duty. But to set an examples, one has to do the way Krishna has done. Sannyasa means sannyasam. Sannyasinchana means giving up of desires, not giving up of works. So Jnana, Sankhya and Sakya Yoga, all are nothing, all are same. Yeah. Siri, you'd like to read?
Yes, Mataji. Yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankhya cha yogam cha ya
Pasyati sa pasyati. Sapat This is the pasyati. Pasyati sa pasyati. Yeah. Yeah, pasyati sa pasyati. Yeah. Read. Read the meaning.
Can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are.
One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. This analytical study is told to us in chapter 2. That means, as we have discussed, chapter 2 talks about the total Bhagavad Gita. So one who knows that the position we reach both with the same thing, but we cannot jump from one cannot jump to karma sannyasa yoga. First, perform prescribed actions. First, we have to do our prescribed actions. We have to purify ourselves, and we have to be renunciated, and then only we will get the right knowledge. But when we do both the things, both these are same, but see things, but this will give knowledge to see things as the gist of this section. The gist of the next session from 7 is okay. Here, when we go to Sloka 7 to 12, the gist is one who is in knowledge will be incompatible with the material nature and will be incompatible with the material nature and with Krishna. So only when we have this knowledge that we have to be detached with the material belongings, then we will be we will act as per Krishna. Here the description in the next 5 slokas, we are going to have the description of Nishkama Karma Yogi. Yeah, next. 7. Who will read? Yeah, read.
Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptum ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma nasiren adhigachyati. Translation: merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Merely renouncing of all activities yet not engaging in devotional service. That means if you just leave all the activities, then no, nothing is mine, I don't want to get attached, and then but not detaching with Krishna, not detaching in devotional service, cannot make one happy. Service of the Lord cannot make one happy. That means, see, we should have some excitement, some happiness, some satisfaction in life. So when we are renouncing things, what is that we are attaching that self? We have been studying one thing, how to leave a bad habit. How to leave a bad habit is, the moment we leave the bad habit, you cannot, if you want to leave a bad habit, the bad habit always keeps ringing in your mind. So instead of leaving the bad habit, what we should do is, we should engage our mind in a better habit, in a good habit. The moment we get attached ourselves to a good habit, what happens? We automatically forget the bad habits, or a waste of time works. Or see, previously, if not very much, I used to see videos, TV serials, or I used to see most of the movies. But now I have no interest, because I'm already fully occupied with my works. I have no time at all. If I the way tomorrow you have an exam, you cannot watch a movie today. If it is there also, your mind keeps, you cannot either enjoy the movie, not the study. So that way, because I started enjoying this study or my other works, I have no enjoyment in this material enjoyments. That way, merely we just can't say, okay, watching more TVs is bad. I stop watching TV. And then do what? And then do what? I can't sit idle. So by renouncing ourselves, by leaving away all this material enjoyment, we have to attach ourselves to the devotional service of Lord. Only then we become happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve supreme without any delay. So if we attach ourselves with Krishna, we can achieve supreme without any delay. Okay, this is. Yeah. 1 minute. Sanya, you want to read? Sagana, you want to read? You have raised your hand.
Yes, Mataji.
7.
Yes, Mataji.
Sagana, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Can you hear me? Yes, I want to read.
Please read.
Yes, Mataji. Yoga yukta visuddhatma vijittatma jitandriyah sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvan apinat lipyate. Translation: one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You are reading nicely, no? Then why every time you don't opt to read the slokas? You are reading very nicely. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah, like previously used to say I will read the meaning, no? That's why I started calling you. Okay, anyway, you have read very well. Please continue reading. And encourage your sister also to read. Okay. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everybody. This is very, and everyone is dear to him. This is very, if you just think about it, it's a very common sense point. Okay, first of all, we are pure soul. That means we have no bad thoughts. When we have no bad thoughts, our mind will be in control. There is no emotions, no bad thoughts, no emotions, no desires, and our senses is dear to, we love everybody. The moment we know that, so we are all children of God, we respect and love every living being as our siblings. When we love every living being as our siblings, we start loving. Even though we have small fights with our siblings, brothers, sisters, we finally, at the end of the day, we love. Something small happens to them, our heart will vibrate. So that way, when we start loving everybody, the only crux of this is very simple. We are children of Krishna. Every living being on this earth is the children of Krishna. So when we are all children of Krishna, we are all siblings. Everybody around is our siblings. Then where is the question of fighting? Where is the question of jealous? Where is the question of ego? Then there is no fighting, and everyone is dear to him. So when all are dear to us, we are also very dear to everybody. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. The moment you start loving everybody will automatically love you because you are not harming them. How many times can they harm you? How many times can they abuse you? How many times can they hurt you? Finally, they will think, oh, he's very good. There's no point in hurting him. Let us be good. So that way, everybody will become, you start loving everybody will also love you. So, though always working, such a man is never entangled with everybody because he has no attachments at all. Now, Sloka 8 and 9. Who will read both the slokas? Siri, will you read? Where is Siri? Yeah, you are there. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Siri, will you read? Dikshit, you want to read? Whoever wants to read.
Yes, Mataji.
you are two there, no? Each one of you read one sloka. Or
Yes, Mataji.
yeah.
Naiva kinchit karomiti yuktamanyeta tattvavit pasyan sranvan sparshan jigran asnan gachan swasan.
Swasan, yeah.
Yes, Mataji. 1 second, Mataji. I will call the. Mataji, next chance Dikshit will take Mataji.
You continue then.
Pralapam Visarjan Grahna. Yes, Mataji. Dikshit came, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita 5.9. Pralapan Visjanggrahan. Unmishan api indriyani nindriyateshu vartante iti dharayan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sanya, you want to read the meaning? Sanya, you want to read the meaning?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Wait, let Sanya read.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects, and that is a law from them.
Good. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. So he is very clear that he is not doing anything. He is only desiring, and it is Krishna who is doing all this. Because if Krishna is not desiring, I just cannot lift my hand like this. I cannot close my eyes and open my eyes like this. It is all Krishna who is inside me is making all this body work. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects. So here, whatever action we are doing, it should be the material body which is engaged in action. It is the material senses which is engaged in action, and that he is aloof from all. So we are not attached with it. Like to take an example, suppose we are going in a train. We sit in a train. Think that we means there the material body, whatever is there, is the soul, and the material body is the train. So the train keeps going. When we sit in the train, so many things happen around us. Are we getting attached to all that? Why are we not getting attached to all that? And our senses are coming in contact with all those sense objects. And we see so many people. We see some babies crying. We see some people fighting. We see some people sleeping. We see some beautiful children. And a lot of things we see. But we don't get attached with anything. However beautiful it is, however bad it is also, we don't hate. Why we don't do all that is because we know that it is temporary. We know that after few hours we are going to get down of the train, and the train will go away. They will go somewhere, we will go somewhere, and we will never meet each other once again. That way, if we know that, if we understand that, if we are the material body, we are the soul and the material body, all this is only temporary. What is permanent is only the soul. When we get this understanding, this is the best example what we can have. Is sitting in a train, we never get attached to it. The moment we get down of the train, we forget all this. So why? Because we are not attaching ourselves to it. The moment we attach even what is happening in the train, we get we keep remembering it also. Uh, and here, what are we doing there sitting in the train? Are we sitting idle? We are not sitting idle. We do our own work. Similarly, here also, the soul should do our own work. So suppose we are going in a train to write an exam. So what are we doing? Whatever may happen around us, we only sit and study for our exam or something else, whatever work we are going on. Similarly, even suppose the same thing we cannot do in the house. If we are sitting in the house and something happening around us, we really get disturbed, distracted, because we are attached to all that. So similarly, we are doing our work. Similarly, the soul also should understand what its final work is, what it is supposed to do. What is it supposed to do? It has to get attached. It has to get the pleasure of Krishna. So when it knows that it has to get the pleasure of Krishna, what does it do? It will not get attached with the material senses or material objects around us. If the life is with lot of temptations, it has lot of disturbances, lot of problems. We work towards, we have to work towards our final destination only, to make Krishna happy. That should be only our motto. Yeah, we will read 10. So, Siri, will you read? Or?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Yeah, Siri. Are you muted?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I have a slow yeah, I got it.
Yeah, got it.
ब्रह्मण्याध्याय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति लिप्यतेन स पापेन padmapatram ivambhasa. Translation: one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water.
Yeah. Here Krishna is taking a beautiful example of a lotus leaf. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrenders the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action. So no action will be, no karma will be accumulated to him. Like a lotus leaf is untouched by water. You always see, no, lotus, where is the lotus leaf? It is in the water. It is always in the water. The lotus leaf is never outside. In spite of being in the water does not touch it. That means if you just put a water on the lotus seed, the water, if you just do like this, it like a ball, it rolls. It does not wet the lotus leaf. When the water goes up, touch the lotus leaf, it will be dry. That means you suppose the same water, I put it on my sari. The sari absorbs it. I put it on the paper. Wherever I put it, it absorbs. Or if I remove the water also, the surface gets wet. But a lotus leaf does not get wet. It is totally unattached. If you just move, so put 2 water drops on a lotus leaf and then move like this, they just roll like a ball. Like if you put 1, 2 or 3 water bottles on some surface and start rolling, the water drops becomes less because they are getting touched to the surface here. But on a leaf, the 2 water drops will be like the water drops only because they are unattached. So we have to be like the lotus, the water drops on the lotus leaf. We have to be totally unattached and we have to work for Krishna only. See, it is like this. How can we work means, suppose we are doing a job. When we are doing a job, we work for a company and we do very good work and the company pays us. So, and the result, something very beautiful comes out. So the day, whatever beautiful result may come, the day we are leaving the job or even when we are in the company also, is the result of us. The result is not ours. Ours is only the salary, what we are getting. And whatever the result, whatever we are getting, whatever we are doing, A software engineer develops a beautiful project, which suppose you say it's a beautiful game he designs and he develops. He takes his salary. When he is leaving the company, he can't say that this game I have designed, I have developed, I have implemented, I will take with me. If he says like that, he will be put in behind bars because it is the property of the company. Anything like that. So that way we should understand that we are already, we have to do our duty, and what we are getting, the way employee is getting salary, we are getting the blessings of Krishna. That's all. The result of our work is not ours. Sri Sagan, I want to read.
Mataji, can I, Mataji?
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, I'll read.
Yeah, let's Sri Sagan read. Next one you can read. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Kevala indriya api yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva sudhyaye. Translation: the yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. Hare Krishna.
The yogis abandoning attachment. That means when we become a yogi, a sannyasi, when we abandon the attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. Whatever we are doing is only for getting ourselves purified, not for getting more and more entangled. So when we have this knowledge that I belong to Krishna, so the body I am carrying also belongs to Krishna. So use it only for him, only for his satisfaction. As the driver cannot own a car, or cannot use a car, I also cannot use it. That kind of a knowledge we should have. Yeah. Read, Rohit. Last one, 12. Read. Where are you? Oh,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, read. One of you read.
Karma phalam tyaktva santim apnoti naistikim ayukta kama karena phale sakto nivadyate. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So yukta means here the meaning. Did you read the meaning? Hare Krishna. The steady.
Mataji. Translation: the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because of the offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled.
Entangled means attached.
Okay, Mataji. Entangled.
The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace. Unadulteration. Adulteration means, to tell you in Telugu, kalti. That means impure. Because pure peace means it is pure, unadulterated. Because he offers the results of all activities to me. Me is Krishna, to Krishna. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is not connected with the divine, with Lord Krishna, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. So here yukta, with yukta, Krishna uses the word yukta. Yukta means attachments. Ayukta means unattached, without attachments. The cause of anxiety and grief is only attachments. 100 times we have been saying the same thing. Suppose only when we get attached to something, then that gives us sorrow or grief. But we have to leave it to Krishna. But here, one thing we have to be clear, this is nothing but Rajogundam. This quality we should have when we are doing some service to Krishna. Only for material benefit, if you are doing, we should not get entangled. That way, we have to be very clear. We have to get attached to the results. Even those results also, we should leave it for Krishna. And when we are trying to do something for Krishna also, we should think, okay, we should do it wholeheartedly and sincerely. But we should result. If suppose today I wanted to take the class, but last 2 days I was not at home, and so I could not prepare. So yesterday night with great difficulty I prepared. But today morning I had to go out somewhere, and I know I planned it in such a way that I'll be back by 4 o'clock. But I was under great tension. Will I be able to come? Will I be able to come? That kind of tension is also unnecessary. We should seriously plan, do sincerely, and do in a devoted way. Here I should think, okay, my desire is very clear. I want to conduct the class. I want to take the class. I have put in best whatever I can do, and I should not develop the anxiety, tension, and all those things. The moment I develop, what happens? If I am getting late, I get angry on the second place wherever I go. What is this? This was not over. Why it is not over? So that kind of an anxiety develops, that kind of an anger develops in me, which is also not good. The moment the anger develops, what happens? The other people will get angry. So that gives a negative effect. So we should plan in such a way that everything goes smooth. But suppose it fails also, we should be able to understand that it is Krishna's mercy. Krishna doesn't want to happen this way. But not by putting all our sincere efforts. We should compulsorily put our sincere efforts there. Not just wash off our hands and say, okay, if Krishna wants, he'll have. If he doesn't want, he will not have. Not that way. We should definitely put our sincere efforts. And after putting sincere efforts, we should not get entangled with the results. This is only bhakti yoga. It is for Krishna. This is bhakti yoga. When we do something work in attachment with Krishna, that is for Krishna, that is nothing but bhakti yoga. But normally what we do is, we look, whenever we are trying to do something, we look for the happiness of our senses, for our sense organs, but we should look for the happiness of Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here to chapter 7. Stop.